Okay, hi guys. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than we've done before with these Travel Massive Live webinars. So there are going to be just a couple of activities to do in this virtual workshop. So don't be scared. I'm going to be doing them with you. So we'll give you time to complete each activity, and then afterwards, I'd really love it if you could share your ideas and feedback as well as results with us after each activity, either by raising your hand, I'll unmute you, or by typing your comments into the chat box. So like with our usual webinars, we will be having a Q&A at the end of the presentation as well, but feel free to ask questions in the chat during the exercises as well. So if you haven't already got a pen and paper handy, go fetch them now so you don't miss any of the presentation before we jump into the exercises. I'll give you a couple of minutes to get those done. Oh, I've got an alien voice at the moment, says Paul. Sorry about my alien voice. It looks like it's working for everybody else. So hopefully you can hear me well by now. You might just need to play around with your sound settings, which you can find over at the left there next to the mute button, where you can select a speaker. So you might want to play around with your speaker settings. Okay, so hopefully everybody now has, oh, we've got a couple more people joining the room. Okay, so guys, the people that just joined the room, make sure you've got a pen and paper handy. So today, Nicole is going to be running this session with me. She works with me at In Marketing We Trust. And we've done certain activities like this before as a team, and they've been super helpful. They have kind of shown me that unfortunately I'm not always great at following instructions. So I have learned a lot from Nicole already. So I'm excited to get going. So with that, I'll let you take over now, Nicole.
Thank you very much, Kirsty. So hello everyone. I would use the camera, but my bandwidth is not the greatest today, so I'll try to use it at the exercises so you know who's speaking here. So today I want to welcome you all and thank you for attending this virtual workshop. I like to keep it engaging and fun. So we'll go over to the agenda. Now, as you see, I love animation, so you'll see throughout the workshop as well that there's lots and lots of pictures and visuals. So, our next hour together, we'll be getting deep into digitalization and its effects to the travel industry. So my goal is really to open your eyes to the possibilities of the digitalization in your work, but also for your businesses. I really want to help you plan how to utilize this to your advantage because there's so much opportunity out there. So this is not about me just lecturing you. We'll also be doing lots of exercises, as Kirsty mentioned, to get you working and start thinking about ideas for your future and making plans on how to realize them. So it's a workshop that really tries to get you to a point where you can actually take something and then actually start building it. So who am I? So my name is Nicole Lemaire, and I'm part of the People Ops team at In Marketing Trust. So I work with Kirsty and many others, but I'm also the owner of the People Engine. And we help people and companies to navigate the digitalization of workplaces. So I work a lot with the remote work, the location independent professionals, but also with the corporate guys and girls. So I first became interested in digitalization and location independent work when I actually traveled the world, and I worked in and lived in, I think I lived in over 15 countries, maybe more, and I've worked definitely over 35 countries for very small and blue chip companies. I actually started in travel and tourism, so my BA is in travel and tourism. I worked in a travel agency, I did tour guiding, I did lots of different things. I decided that the corporate world was a little bit more to my liking at that stage. So I moved back in, and then at some point I moved back out again. So that's the world of opportunities I like to show you. So the travel industry was one of the early adopters of digitalization. And the speed of change is getting wilder with new services, apps, and business models every year. So I actually learned something that there's now a new service, an app that actually allows you to look for a gym or look for massages or look for something when you're on your layover at the airport. So we're going much more towards constant the personalization of the services. So we are looking at the Internet of Things, VR and AR, and they're all just being integrated, and they're still to come. So look and think about these things, and we'll take them further into our exercises in a little bit. So digitalization in the travel industry has really impacted the whole world profoundly. And the travel industry was, as you know, one of the first ones to get digitalized. The impact has been big in many ways, both for businesses and for customers. But I want you to look at these three things that are coming up and then think, okay, how far have we gone? And what can we do? Now this makes you think, right? Well, that's a long time ago. You know, what do we have today? But what did the floppy disk, cassette and telephone go through? But also all the services next to these items. If you think about what it was like 30 years ago, if you wanted to take a trip to Bangkok, you went to a high street brick and mortar travel agency to book it, right? Or you may have phoned them. I mean, that was already quite advanced if you phoned them. But then came technology and brought us online agents, websites, search engines, apps, aggregators, and paper-free travel. Now that's awesome. So is it a threat or an opportunity? Right? So many of you will already see the opportunity, but may not know how to actually build it up. Other people may see it as a threat, but actually a threat is always an opportunity as well. And this really is only the beginning. The pace of change is only getting faster. So now all the websites and apps are gathering big data from us, the hotels, airlines, and other players are using it to personalize our experience. So they know how we want our coffee. They know what type of breakfast we want when we stay at a hotel, right? So the next we're seeing is the objects we use to come alive and adding a whole other level to our experiences. So we're going from high street to paper-free to personalization. And we're now in the stage of personalization, while many people don't realize actually paper-free is already left behind. Now, a lot of this you know, but see how we build it up, where we were and where we're going to. So for customers, digitalization has meant ease of use, accessibility, and choice. And hopefully also better customer experiences, although I think all of us still know that there's still some improvement necessary. But for businesses, digitalization has meant efficiency and opportunities for development and new business, but also fierce competition. So it's easier than ever to get into a market with a new idea and to spread the word about your services. But it's also easier for customers to let the world know if you serve them badly. So how has this changed you in terms of your job? So how has digitalization changed your job in the last 5 years? And what has it done to your work life, but also what has it done to your travel plans? Now, it is a big deal. So according to the World Economic Forum Digital Transformation Initiatives, from 2016 to 2025, digitalization in aviation, travel and tourism is expected to create up to 305 billion of value for the industry through increased profitability, migrate 100 billion of value from traditional players to new competitors. So there's 100 billion that's out there. And generate benefits valued at 700 billion for customers and the wider society. So look at that 100 billion. What will be your cut? So it is a big deal, and you should definitely stay on top of it and make it work for you. Again, what will be your cut of that 100 billion of migration value? So from traditional to new players. It is also worth noting really that up to now North America and Europe have dominated the travel markets, but that's about to change, right? So by 2030, most of the growth in the international travel will come from Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, according to the World Economic Forum. Especially China will be a major driver of growth. For the global tourism. So how can you make sure you're up to serving those markets as well? And are you serving those markets now, right? So are you serving Africa, Asia, Middle East, and China? Now here comes the fun part. So we know that there's definitely room for new players, right? So we saw the 100 billion. And people travel more than ever. The industry has been growing for years and is expected to continue to do so. So the International Air Transport Association estimates that the number of passengers in 2035 will be 7.2 billion, almost double that registered in 2016. And over the next 20 years, the IATA predicts that the annual growth rate of passengers will reach 3.7%. Okay, look at all these numbers, and there's a reason. You've seen all these numbers, but you've never likely put them all together in a row. Look at these numbers and see the opportunities, right? So in the meanwhile, worldwide online travel sales are expected to top 817 billion in 3 years' time, compared to 564 billion in 2016. 817 billion, right? If you focus on Africa, Asia, Middle East, and possibly also China. So where's the money, right? That's the most important thing, right? So one of the biggest opportunities for growth is in our pockets. And an increasing number of reservations and purchases are made through those mobile devices. So tourists everywhere have now 24/7 access to localized and personalized options from where to stay, what to do, and how to get around. When we need accommodation, we can go to Airbnb, Chuya, HomeAway, 9flats, Wimdu, and Flipkey, right? Now, when we need to get around, there's Uber, Grab, Didi, or Lyft, or we can share a car through iCars or Zipcar. And even share a bike nowadays in Mobike or OVO. We can search for unique tours on Viable and tours by locals, or experience a home-cooked meal on Eat With or Viz Eat. And in Europe, you can even fly with a private plane through Ringly if you want, and you don't have to be a millionaire. So see all these changes, and these changes were all made by localized and personalized options. Now think what you can do with this. So having lots of services to choose from caters to us as travelers. Because the statistics show that diversified, personalized, and customized tourism is gradually replacing the traditional group tourism. So among outbound tourists from China, and this is in 2015, 2014, for example, 66% already chose free travel, semi-free travel, self-help travel, or customized travel. Do you see that huge shift? And we're not there yet. There's still lots and lots of opportunity out there. So, what is it all about? It really is all in the pocket. It's mobile devices. So I'd say right now, the value of digitalization is in the personalization of the customer journey and creating us the experiences we crave. Namely, the way in which we plan trips has changed completely. Now, a study by Nielsen reveals, for example, that we spent an average of 53 days visiting almost 30 websites during the decision-making process. So we visit for 53 days, 30 websites during the decision-making process of where we'll go. And that's more than half of us seeking that advice and recommendations. And we're looking for others to provide that advice, for example, from social networks. Right? So think about it. 30 websites are visited for 53 days to find that location, that unique experience. People are searching, getting inspired, comparing, and having hundreds of digital moments before they book, during their travel and afterwards. And I love this quote by Hans Christian Andersen, "To travel is to live." I think that's what it is all about, right? So people are looking, wanting, getting inspired, comparing, and finding those digital moments. And how is this possible? It's all because of connecting to the sharing economy. The new services that are emerging often connect also to the sharing economy, like Airbnb and Uber. The sharing economy is a new rage that has opened up a whole new world of opportunities for customers and businesses in the travel industry, as you know. But it's also changing the whole fabric of it. According to PricewaterhouseCoopers, the sharing economy's revenue is forecast to rise from 15 billion to 335 billion by 2025. So we're looking at 15 billion to 335 billion by 2025. And surprise, surprise, the travel and tourism sector is the main source of growth in the sharing economy. So it's also the sharing economy is also closely connected to the ecological and sustainable values in consuming and traveling. With the effects of the climate change all around us, it's safe to say that the trend will only get stronger by the year. So how can you benefit from these trends, right? From 15 billion to 335 billion by 2025, all because of a sharing economy. What can you do? Exploring new destinations, booking, planning, what to do, and even post-holiday reviews about our experiences, all of this takes place online. As digital technology reduces transactional friction and makes it easy for new players to enter the market, it also increases the level of competition and makes it harder, especially for the old players, to keep their revenues and profit up. Now, the evolution of organizations within the travel industry and the strength of their alliance is totally dependent on whether or not they are able to move to offering their customers with more advanced personalization. So that's another option, right? So we have traditional brick and mortars. Some may already not exist anymore, or some may have gone up to a certain level, and they may need help to get to the other side, right? So they may need help in offering those personalized services. So the next surge of digitalization and OIT-based transformation has already begun. So many organizations are looking to reskill their workforce to meet the demands of the digital economy. So here's another opportunity. For example, Ryanair, in addition to its mobile app My Ryanair, has also established innovation labs, and the company's new website is embedded with digital technology. The airline industry is pursuing blockchain in ticketing applications, operations, and identity management. And the newest terminal at Singapore's Changi Airport will be equipped with biometrics, embedded chips, and vascular technology systems. The Merit chain of hotels is all set to launch the real-time app messaging My Places, VD, virtual reality travel experiences. And even virtual reality postcards. Now, that would be awesome, wouldn't I? So, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, Internet of Things, the IoT, the augmented reality, AR, virtual reality, drones, robots, 3D printing, bitcoins and bitcoins, and advanced data analytics have all marched their way into this industry. Now, is anything of what you do at the moment linked to this? And if it's not, think about all the different slides we went through and think about how you might be able to link it up. Now it's clear to see that the impact of digitalization has already gone deep into the travel industry, right? So a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is not 100% new to you. But there's still infinite possibilities ahead. So since digitalization, Wi-Fi and supercomputers in our pockets, the markets are wide open to new ideas to be developed into new business opportunities. So travelers are skilled at searching for and finding new and exciting services, experiences and opportunities. So even the niches of service providers have a chance of surviving. So even if you're in a niche, you have a real good chance of surviving. And that wasn't there before. So many years ago, you could almost not have a niche because the market was too small. But people want that personalized experience now. So, are you up for the challenge? Now, there's a reason why I put all these slides, and I know a lot of the time you know about the figures, but have you seen all the figures in a row? And actually, have you connected to those figures and what your possibilities are in terms of what you can do in the future, right? So, the exciting part and the engaging part will start now. Have those pens and papers ready. Kirsty asked you to get. So, this exercise, the goal is the purpose of this exercise is really to start thinking about your abilities and your expertise in a different, broader way and realize your full potential. Think about all the figures that you've gone through. Think about all the different things that we had, from a cassette, a floppy disk, to now a mobile supercomputer in your pocket. This exercise will be 3 minutes. And the first step is really, and it's the first step really in utilizing your full potential and for you to realize your full potential. Now, all of us know and can do things other people can't. And those can be the very ones you can use to expand your business and make you stand out to your customers. So what I like you to do for 3 minutes is think about and write down what you can do. Come up with as many things as you can and write them down, either one on a post-it or one per line. It can be anything. So it can be a particular skill, it can be something you really enjoy. Just be as specific as you can and don't worry about any silliness. So I'm going to do this exercise with you as well. To think about what you think you are good at, what you love, what you get complimented on by customers, friends, and family. Anything, it can be anything. So it might be that you're very good with people and showing them around. It might be that you're very good with computers or particular skills. So take 3 minutes and write down what you can do and do it one thing per line and be as specific as you can. So it can be a particular skill you may have. So think about what you can do, right? So be as specific as you can. How's that list going? We have another about 1.5 minutes. Keep going. You know you have a lot more. Okay, so you saw likely what I just added. Let's review. So I like working with people, numbers, reading, blog posts, international cultures, negotiation, travel, and showing people around, right? So how many did you come up with? So share some of the skills that some of the people find surprising.
Okay, so if you can, just pop in your results or feedback into the chat box. So you can raise your hand by clicking on the participants button at the bottom of your screen and then clicking to raise hand over on the right. I'll then unmute you and you can give us your feedback. So I did this one too. I wrote 10 things down. The last one, I actually got inspired by your list there, Nicole. I was trying to come up with things more, I guess, that had a really obvious monetary value on them. And so when I read that you wrote, I like reading, I thought, well, that's my favorite thing to do as well. But where does money making come in? And then I thought, well, you know, how it's ridiculous what you don't think about as a skill, because I actually am a proofreader and the editor-in-chief, and yet I didn't think about reading as a skill, which is quite funny. So we all have these skills, I guess, that we just don't even think about. Okay, so 15 skills someone's written. That's awesome. That's more than me. I thought I did really well with 10. I thought I was going to get like 1 or 2 down.
That's pretty amazing. I think it's going through all the numbers and seeing certain things that's really helpful. But I think about, you know, all the skills. Everything online at the moment is monetizable. I don't know if that's a word, even monetizable, but anyway. So think about that skill, and even if you didn't think about it, somehow it will be linked to 1 or 2 other parts that are already out there, and that's where you have that niche opportunity. So I don't know if there's some other examples maybe of skills, Kirsty.
Yeah, so Ian has written it. He's written 3 ideas, so not too many, but programming, meeting people, and generating ideas. So, I mean, obviously, creating travel massives, that's probably come into play with those skills. I think you've used those skills quite successfully so far. I hope I can say the same thing about some of my skills as well. We're probably in a interesting position where we're already digital nomads, I guess. So I've written writing, content marketing, SEO, CRO, webinars, digital marketing, blogging, and social media management. So we've had a few more coming in.
I think that's amazing. Yeah, and the thing is, all those skills that you just mentioned, to be honest, at this stage, they're already monetizable. You just need to align them a little bit to what's happening out
Yeah,
there.
that's right. So Ali's written a huge list. That's fantastic, Ali. So she's written, I like to host people and show them around. I'm good at presenting to people, good at teaching and coaching. I have great organizational skills. Are you a tour guide, Ali? I think you sound like you must be one. I like animals. I like leading people. You're definitely a tour guide, and if you're not, then you should be.
That's cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next exercise. I think there's a slide in between now, but I'll just move on. And we're going to build it up now. So the goal of this exercise, new offerings, is really to ideate different ways of monetizing those skills that came up in the previous exercise. And there's so many ways of doing that. And you may not be always successful at the first go, but it really is the long-term thinking that makes it successful, especially from an online perspective. So we'll move over once we have this slide, because there's some nice visuals coming on. So look over that list again and start deciding which one you think you like to take forward. So take that list of things you're good at and pick one. Pick anyone, right? So start to list different ways you can turn that skill into money on its own or by incorporating it to your existing business. So take one of those skills, any skill, start thinking about how you can incorporate it into your existing business or on its own. Now you have 2 minutes, so list as many as you can. Right? So you have one skill, how can you turn that one skill into money? So think about the different ways you can turn that skill into money. Now on its own or by incorporating it into an existing business. Now list as many as you can. It doesn't have to be viable at the moment, just list them. Okay, so that's 2 minutes up. So you've just made a list of that one skill and how you can add that skill and take it into a money way. Now let's take another skill, right? First, I think your microphone is still on. So take that other skill and do another list, right? So you've just made one list, now make another list. Take another skill or something you like, doesn't always have to be a skill, but usually it's a skill, and repeat the exercise. So skill into money. How can you make that skill into money? Any type of format of money. It can be offline as well, but usually within the travel and tourism at the moment, and the easier, low barriers is online. So you have another 2 minutes. Okay, so you saw what I just did. It might not be 100% correct. I'm just kind of doing it off my head. But you now have two lists. So the first skill or the first interest you may have, then another skill, and we're going to take another list. We're going to do another list. So take another skill and do another list. So again, you have 2 minutes and you see what's coming out. There's lots and lots of possibilities and opportunities coming out this. So I'm going to do one as well. So another 2 minutes. Okay, so I think we are about done with the 3 lists you should have now, right? So I just did something on my head. It's probably not 100% correct. It doesn't matter. That's how we get the skills out there and how we can monetize everything, right? So what did you come up with?
Okay, I love help people with their travel budgets. That's a great one. I think we all need people in our lives with that skill, I think. So get sharing your skills and your lists in the chat box, or you can raise your hand. So I came up with, I did a little list for webinars. So obviously monetizing the webinars, though that's not my sly way of telling you all that you're going to be paying for these webinars. They're still going to be free, don't worry. So I thought podcasting, YouTube influencer, or, you know, turn my job into a YouTube influencer, because that's always a good, hopefully a good way to earn a lot of money, and online courses as well.
I think the online courses are a great idea, and I do a lot of them as a hobby because I just love doing them. But it really depends on what you feel comfortable with. And I think any skill at the moment is an opportunity. And I think that's really what I wanted to get out of is there's so many things that you can use and you may have not looked at, and it doesn't need to exist, or it may already exist, right? So only look at skills and ways you can monetize your skill on a personal level. Do not look at competition, do not look at other people. They're not gonna be able to get you to the right point. It really needs to be you looking at, okay, what skill do I have and how can I monetize it? So this is something that you can do after the workshop as well for all the skills you wrote down or come up with in the future. So I don't know if might be, Kirsty, there might be other skills into monetization
Yeah.
options that
So
people share.
Ian has shared that he could turn his programming skills into the CTO of an online travel company, and meeting people into business development manager, and obviously meeting people, and turn that into a tour guide.
That's already that's 3 different business streams there, and that's pretty pretty awesome. I think Ian has done something like this before, or at least has challenged
Yeah,
himself to come up with
well,
certain
Ian's
offerings.
quite the entrepreneur, so yeah, I think Ian's probably pretty good at doing this. So Matteo has said, so passion of sharing knowledge into educational and thematic tours, articles, guest lecturing or speaking, support local initiatives such as foundations. Yeah, they're all great. I love the educational and thematic tours.
And that's a very special niche as well, but more and more interest in that area as well. So I think you have a little gold mine on your hands on that one.
Yeah, and then, you know, there's the articles and guest lecturing, or speaking. That's all a way of obviously promoting those tours as well. So it could potentially all revolve around the one thing.
Exactly, and just build it out and have the different. It's almost like an octopus, isn't it? Do you say octopus in Australia?
Yes.
Like
Yes, we do.
you have the different, tentacles, but the main focus is on education, but everything else comes off it, and that's really how an online business is built. Okay, so I'm gonna close off to the closing part, unless there is anything else.
It looks like we've had most people sharing some of their that wanted to anyway. nice. So I'm sure everybody else has these amazingly beautiful lists. They're just for their eyes only. That's what I'm going to assume.
Cool. But we're here after this exercise as well, and we will come through that a little bit later. So, in summary, I really wanted to say, well, this is it. You know, you've loosened up your thinking a bit, and hopefully you got lots of ideas on how to build and expand your business and your work to whatever you've always dreamed of. Now, it is possible if you use this way of thinking. So on the In Marketing We Trust blog, we have added the homework to design your master plan. And Kirsty will share with you probably the link a little bit later. So do the homework and remember that this is only the beginning, right? So maybe not of all of your ideas today were golden nuggets, right? Some might just not, be of interest to you, in a week's time. But if you feel that you didn't come up with a killer idea, don't get discouraged. The process has started, and that's really, think about all those figures. Think about where you sit in that whole process, in that industry, or where you want to sit into that industry. So new ideas will pop into your head over the days to come. You can use these ideation and planning techniques along the way and develop your ideas further. So search actively for inspiration and try things with an open mind. Something that may not be possible is possible nowadays. Everything is possible nowadays.
Okay, thank you so much, Nicole. So I'll just check if anybody has any questions. We did get a question earlier on in the presentation, actually, about when you shared one of those graphs. A couple of people were asking about what the categories were. So I think there was 4 categories below the graph, saying just category 1, category 2, etc.
In the slides on the blog post, will have all the details to the research, and it will have the specific information in that. So I'll highlight that, and then you can see for yourself how it's linked to the Middle East, Africa, and Asia.
Great. So we have shared the slides on that link I just shared in the chat there. And obviously I will send that link to everybody with your homework in it later on tomorrow probably, or today for some of you even, actually, if it's the morning. It probably is for most of you. So thank you so much for joining us in our Travel Massive Live experiment today. So if you have any follow-up questions, you can always get in touch with Nicole at inmarketingwetrust.com.au or shoot me an email at kirsty@travelmassive.com. So I've just popped the link in to your homework in the chat box now for those of you who'd like to do it to get started right away. Otherwise, you'll find it in your inbox tomorrow and up on the Travel Massive blog as well as the slide share, which has all of those links to the research in it that Nicole was talking about. So thank you again for joining, everyone, and let us know, obviously, how you get on with that homework too. And so just so you know, Nicole, lots of people have just given their thanks in the chat.
Thank you so much. I loved every minute of it. I love this stuff. And, I really hope that this has given you something to think about and give you the working life you've always dreamed of.
Great. Thank you so much, Nicole. And thank you, everybody, for joining.